Today for New Music Monday, we're going to look at the brand new record from Marilyn Manson, and it's called The Pale Emperor. Now, this is the band's first record since 2012's Born Villains, and to be honest, I was pretty disappointed in that outing. The last record that I really loved from Marilyn Manson was 2007's Eat Me, Drink Me. I really dug that record, and I still listen to it a lot. And in the build-up to this record, he's made it very clear that this is going to be a blues-based record for the band, and that it's going to have some sort of a cinematic experience. That alone had me very interested in this album, as I've kind of grown tired of that hot topic posery that Marilyn Manson had on lockdown in the early aughts. The first two Manson records are brilliant, hard, heavy rockers. I love them, and every time he moves closer back to that sound, I'm a big fan. The opening of this album certainly lives up to that idea. It's a slow burner, but definitely has the presence of that core Manson sound to it. And it's fused together with this pounding, silky soundscape that's kind of different. Well, it's kind of not. It's just a different approach to the formula that Manson has mastered throughout his career, but it sounds a bit different. You can't get past that. However, the record quickly kicks into high gear, and that sound and feel really dominates the first half of the album. And honestly, I really enjoyed it, at least the first few times I played it through. The guitars on this record are solid, but they're actually buried a bit too deep in the mix for my liking. And to contrast that, Manson's voice is actually a little bit too far in front of the mix. That's where this album really falls apart, unfortunately. It's not terrible by any stretch of the imagination, but I think a little bit of a different mix would have really made these tracks jump. That said, I still really like the first single off of this record, Third Day of a 7-Day Binge. It's a great track any way you look at it. This is about as perfect a Manson track as you're gonna find. It's dark, it's slow, it's brooding, it's got all sorts of cool sounds to it. It's a great track. And to be honest, while the album might not be, this song is gonna be in heavy rotation with me for a very long time. One thing you can't deny is that all across this record, you can definitely hear the influence of Manson's time on Sons of Anarchy. That is to say, a lot of these songs are perfect for a dirty bar, a bar brawl, that sort of scene. You're gonna hear it because it's pretty strong. The other thing you're definitely gonna notice is that a majority of the industrial sound that Marilyn Manson has built his career on, it's kind of nowhere to be seen. This is far more of a rock and roll record than almost anything he's ever done before, and that's not a bad thing. But don't go searching for the programmed drums and things like that. They're just not really there. There's no doubt that this record is more melody driven than anything. These songs are built around hooks, whether they be lyric or musical. And to be honest, in a lot of cases, the lyrics actually take a back seat on some of these songs, which is a new thing for Marilyn Manson. But see, that's the catch. A lot of these songs don't really have standout lyrics, so they sort of melt together because they really don't have any dissimilar sounds. There's not a ton of differentiation from track to track, and it sort of becomes repetitive after you've heard the album a few times. It doesn't get to the point where it kills the album, but there's definitely some songs on this record that you can skip after hearing them once. That all being said, this might be the most accessible album that Marilyn Manson has made to date. It's nice to hear that sound he seemed to be caught in a rut in during the early aughts, he's pushed it to the side and he has no problem being musically creative again. And when you take all of that into account, there's melodies here. They're really obvious. This is a more rock-oriented record, and people are going to be able to get into it that never listened to Marilyn Manson before. I'll say that if you're a big Marilyn Manson fan, you're going to find bits of this that you can really dig, and if you're not a Marilyn Manson fan, you're going to find bits of this that you can really dig. It sort of straddles the line in a lot of ways, and it's obvious that this is a transitionary album for the Manson band. And on the buy or to borrow it, The Pale Emperor is a solid borrow it. If you can get past what he's been doing for the past 15 years, there's plenty to get into on this album. So that's what I got for you guys today. I hope you dug it. If you did, go ahead and click subscribe, click like, whatever you want to do. Go down in the comments and tell me what you think of the last 15 years of Marilyn Manson. Does this record even have you excited, or are you over him? You can follow me on Twitter and Facebook right here, and I'll see you guys again next time.